Germany, known for its dark fairy tales and this famous cake, the bee sting. The bee sting cake, also known as Bienenschnitz Kuchen, is a German dessert with a golden brown honey and almond topping. It's traditional but not too sweet and is sliced in half with a serrated knife and then filled with pastry cream. This cake is typically served during Easter time. Now this cake does have a tale. The bee sting cake, as it's known, the first version of the story, where it came from, is a bee was attracted to the sweet honey topping. The baker who invented it was then stung by this bee, and hence the name. The second version is a bit of a darker tale. Some German bakers from the 15th century were throwing beehives at raiders who came from a neighboring village. They were successful and able to get them to retreat. The cake was then named the bee sting cake and used to celebrate their victory. Now, to get started, the first thing that we want to do is take 2 round molds. So I'm using some ring mold here. This one is an extendable one, which I can adjust. This one here is just a springform pan, which I've taken the base off. But basically we're looking for about 24 centimeters in diameter. And you want to make sure that you grease these really well. If you do have vegetable shortening, that's even better. Or if you are using a vegan margarine, just make sure it's a really high fat one, and this will ensure that your cake will release when it is baked. Now we can scale out our dough for bee sting cakes. So I just have my brioche dough, which was prepared yesterday, and we are going to scale out 500 grams per cake. Now you're going to take each piece of your dough, find a nice smooth surface, and we're just going to turn this into a nice ball. So we're just tucking that dough underneath itself and into a ball. Now you're going to take each ball of dough, and we have our forms here just on a baking sheet lined with some baking paper, and I'm just going to put my ball of dough into each one, and we're going to let these rest for about 20 minutes before we start flattening them down. So our brioche dough has been relaxing for about 20 minutes in the forms here. So all I want to do now is I'm going to grease my hands just with some light vegetable oil, and we are going to press our dough ball down until it's about half an inch or so away from the sides of our form. Now we're going to set this aside until it doubles in size. So this will take between 60 minutes, 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours. Just keep an eye on it, and we always want to proof our brioche dough below 27 degrees Celsius. So we're going to make the sticky honey and almond topping. So all you want to do in a saucepan is we have some vegan margarine here, some vegan honey, and you can watch the video on how to make this, or you can just use your favorite liquid sweetener, and some sugar. So you want to just cook this over a medium heat until everything is melted, and then we're going to bring it to a simmer. We just want to melt down all of those sugar crystals and that vegan margarine. So our mixture has come to a simmer, and I've let this simmer for about a minute or two. Now I'm going to switch the heat off, Now, if you want this to have a really authentic honey flavor, I do highly recommend to add a little bit of orange blossom water, because as we know, honey is made from bees and from pollen. So if you add a touch of this, it's going to give that beautiful floral note to your sticky vegan honey topping. You can take this off the heat now. And we're going to add our slivered or sliced almonds. Now our brioche dough has doubled in size, we can start adding our topping. So I just let it cool for a little bit so I can handle it more easily. And we're just going to divide this amongst our 2 brioche cakes. Once your cakes have cooled down, we are going to use a cake knife or a bread knife and cut each one of them in half. Now I'll put my pastry cream into a piping bag and we're going to pipe our cream onto each cake. And that's how you make an authentic German bee sting cake.